In September 1978, 15-year-old Mary Vincent ran away from home. She hitchhiked all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada to Berkeley, California to visit her grandmother. Homesick, she began her hitchhiking journey back to Nevada. After many short trips, finally a man in a van pulled up to Mary and offered to take her all the way home to Las Vegas. However, suspicions were raised by the other hitchhikers Mary was with. The van was completely empty, but the man insisted he only had room for one. In the van was 50-year-old Lawrence Singleton, a man who would later be put on death row for murder. Despite the warnings from the group, Mary agreed to go with the man as she was desperate to get home. She saw Singleton as a harmless old man. Exhausted, Mary quickly went to sleep in the van. Upon waking up, Mary began to notice they were heading in the complete opposite direction. Mary confronted Singleton, who insisted it was an honest mistake. They pulled over and Mary knew she was in trouble. Mary contemplated her escape. She believed she could outrun the 50-year-old Singleton. She got out of the van and noticed her shoes were untied. As she knelt down to tie her shoes, Singleton approached her and struck her over the head with a sledgehammer, rendering her unconscious. When Mary regained consciousness, she was tied up in the back of the van. Singleton then raped her multiple times. Mary lay there in the back of the van, completely unable to move, until the sun came up. As the sun comes up, Singleton pulls Mary out of the van.
I was begging for my life, asking him to set me free. And he replied, "You want to be set free? I'll set you free."
Singleton opened his toolbox and pulled out a hatchet. He grabbed Mary's left arm and struck it, severing it completely below her elbow. Unfortunately, he wasn't done yet. Mary struggled with her remaining arm, kicking and screaming as hard as she could, but eventually Singleton severed that arm as well.
Everything. I remember everything, every detail.
Singleton, who likely thought Mary was dead at this point, then threw her off a 30-foot cliff. This fall broke 4 of Mary's ribs, and the blood loss from her severed arms sent her body into shock. Through sheer strength and toughness, Mary refused to die at that moment.
I knew that if he were to do this to somebody else, they wouldn't survive it, and I don't know if I'm going to survive this. So I had to get up as quickly as I could to get help. And I climbed out of the culvert.
She stuck what was left of her arms in mud to try and stop the bleeding. She climbed back up the cliff she was thrown off without any hands. By the time she reached the road, it was very dark. Naked, missing half her arms, and covered in mud and blood, she followed the distant noise of a freeway. Eventually, she could see the headlights of a car approaching her. Mary screamed for help. As the car slowed down, she saw 2 men, and they saw her. For whatever reason, they drove off.
And I screamed to stop, to help me. And I was thinking, gosh, I must look a mess. They're gonna get scared, and they did get scared, and they drove off. I told myself maybe if I'm nicer and I ask please to help, maybe the next people will help me.
Finally, a second car approached Mary. Inside was a honeymoon couple who were lost. Horrified by Mary's condition, they carefully put her in the back of the truck and raced to town. Eventually, they were able to call the paramedics, and a rescue helicopter was sent for Mary. Mary lost over half the blood in her body, necessitating rigorous surgery and therapy to address the profound trauma she experienced. Additionally, she faced the daunting challenge of adapting to prosthetic arms. Nevertheless, through determination and resilience, she ultimately achieved a remarkable recovery.
I wanted to go home. That's the only thing that was in my mind, is that I wanted to go home.
10 days later, police identified and charged Lawrence Singleton with rape and attempted murder. Unfortunately, Singleton was only sentenced to 14 years, which was the maximum term under California law at the time. As the trial concluded, Mary had to walk past Lawrence, and she heard him say, "If it's the last thing I do, I will finish the job." This threat haunted Mary throughout Singleton's prison sentence. She even recalls breaking her own ribs, jolting awake from such intense nightmares. Mary would eventually fall in love with a man and have 2 boys together, trying to put it all behind her. After only serving 8 years, Lawrence Singleton was paroled, despite massive public protests against his release. Singleton moved to Florida, and unfortunately, the protesters who vehemently opposed his release were proven right. In 1997, he committed a violent murder, taking the life of Roxanne Hayes. Lawrence Singleton was placed on death row for his murder of Hayes in 1998. However, before he could be executed, he died of cancer in 2001. In the aftermath of the assault, Vincent faced uncertainty about ever reclaiming a semblance of normalcy in her life.
When I wake up, I'm haunted. When I'm sleeping, it won't leave. I can't escape it. I wake up to it every day. Just waking up to no hands.
Throughout the years, she grappled with personal challenges, experiencing the highs and lows of marriage and divorce, while also becoming a mother to 2 children. Ultimately, she emerged from her difficult journey with resilience, going on to establish the Mary Vincent Foundation, dedicated to assisting fellow survivors of violent crimes. Over time, Vincent discovered art, becoming a source of solace in the face of her traumatic experiences. She could not afford high-end prosthetics. Instead, she salvaged components from refrigerators and stereo systems. Mary Vincent's story embodies a profound tale of resilience, unwavering strength, and the shortcomings of a flawed judicial system.
It's God and my sons that keep me going. They keep me loving life more than most people. I appreciate it more, and I'm just glad that I'm given another chance at life, that I didn't die.
This has been The Morbid Truth. Thank you for watching.